What is up? That sounds better. What's up, everybody? Wednesday night, September something. It's getting dark earlier. As that was the cheerleading practice tonight. Yes, cheerleading practice. By 7:15, it was almost pitch dark. So anyway, lots to talk about tonight. I know Delco Steve was at the game on Sunday, and he texted me that he was ready to go for Wednesday. He was ready to react. Now, I've had a couple days to react. Very unhappy on Monday. Or excuse me, on Tuesday. Still unhappy today, but you know how it is. By 3 days after a loss, you're like, all right, I'm ready to move on. That was a tough one, though. Tough way to lose that game. Eagles 1-1, and I guess it's amazing how quickly things change. No one was worried about the Saints, including me. No one was worried about the Bucs, including me. And you look at the Buccaneers, they went up and they beat Detroit. They look like they have a very good team. And the Saints, prolific offense. Now, we'll see. I think when it's all said and done, Derek Carr is going to turn into Derek Carr. But it's a bad spot and a bad week for the Eagles to be facing an offense like the Saints. It's the bad timing, right? When the Yankees came into Citizens Bank Park, they were limping out of the All-Star break, and they were struggling offensively, and the starting pitching was tired. And the Yankees came in and swept the Phillies and really just kicked their ass. Aaron Judge, Soto, and they were getting hot. So it was the wrong time to face the Yankees. It feels like Sunday's game is the wrong time to face the Saints. At least that's the way that it looked in the first 2 weeks for the Eagles defense and the Saints offense. However, as we bring Delco Steve in, who was at Lincoln Financial Field for Monday Night Football. What's up, Steve? You see so many times when a team gets a huge emotional win. Maybe it's on national, it's on like a Monday Night Football or a Sunday night, a nationally televised game, or in the Saints case, they absolutely romp the Cowboys, right? That next week, everybody's been saying how great they are. Oh, the Saints are for real. Look at his offense, Kamara, Carr, blah, blah, blah. And the Eagles come in and they're like, shit, we can't lose this game. And so that's positive. John feels like that. I see this happen all the time in the NFL where it's so easy to get humbled. It's a week-to-week league. And it feels like it's setting up for the Saints 2-0 to think that they're going to beat the Eagles, and the Eagles go down there and beat them. Hi, Steve.
What's up? The gambler in me believes that. Like, would love to believe that's the case. Watching how this team plays, though,
this Eagles team doesn't. Yeah, it's hard to feel like that.
I said this in the moment, like as soon as they kick the field goal. If I'm sitting on my couch and the Falcons are playing any other team in the league, and that team does what we did, I am live betting the Falcons in that moment. It's just, I don't know. I just feel like this team makes boneheaded decisions. Am I going to be surprised if we go down to New Orleans next week and win? As a gambler, no. But as a team, someone who just watched this team make stupid decision after stupid decision and can't get a pass rush for on a guy that can't move,
that's problematic. Yeah, the pass rush is problematic, right? I totally agree with you. The pass rush gives you cause for pause, and I'd like to say that Vic Fangio will figure out a way. Will he?
Does he have the horses to do it?
Well, no. That's the best point of anything. This is a players' league. You need talent. But is he going to say, like, hey, we're struggling with the pass rush right now. I'm going to try to be creative and send some pressure. And I'm not talking about Rex Ryan blitzes. I'm talking about Buddy Ryan blitzes. I'm not the hoagie mouth Eagle fan. Yeah. I'm not the hoagie mouth Eagle fan that wants a zero blitz every time. But you got to get pressure on the quarterback. And you can't just sit back there and get killed. Do you remember the Raiders game? It's when this team was at its worst before they turned it around, the playoff year, where Sirianni stopped calling the plays offensively. But there was that game against the Raiders where Derek Carr just killed him 7 yards at a time. It was like 7 yards here, 12 yards here, 5 yards there, 7 yards there, and he just dinked and ducked down the field the entire. I think he was like setting NFL records and things like that. And that's what the Saints offense looks like right now, is that they're clicking. Carr knows where to go with the ball. Kamara's dangerous as a back and as a receiver. And man, it feels like the wrong time. It feels like the wrong time to face this team. Later on in the season, Delco Steve, you face them in November, December, after they kind of figure stuff out here. I think it could be a totally different story. I don't know. Like right now, it just doesn't feel like a good time at all.
I'm 100% glad this is a 1:00 game, not a standalone game this week. I will just be watching as a fan and screaming and yelling just because I hope they're doing good. I don't know, man. It's really concerning. A lot of the things is concerning. Like you talk about, like I feel like a lot of. So I was just watching your stuff an hour or so before, and you said the number one blame for you was Herz, right?
Yeah, like I don't blame Seriani at all.
I have no
problem.
I'm so on the opposite side.
I have no problem with Serani.
I'm ready to I'm calling for it. I'm calling for a job like now. Like that's where I'm at.
So what is it? So I just going over, and I'm assuming that you didn't like not taking the points in the first half and throwing the ball on third down at the end of the game, which essentially it didn't even end the game, but it obviously gave the Falcons the ball.
I have no issue. So, all right, yeah, if I'm in that scenario, I'm running it on third down and then deciding if I want to be aggressive on fourth down. That's if you get to that situation.
Gotcha. Agreed.
But the way it played out, I had no problem with the original play call. It was a perfect call. Barkley dropped it. Shit happens. All right, but my issue is you went aggressive in the first quarter. You went aggressive on that third down call, and then you turtled on fourth down. If you're going to call the play on third down and have it not be successful, you have to know in that scenario you're going for it on fourth down.
If you're going for it on fourth down, you run the ball on third down and you wind the clock. By throwing the ball on third down, he set up the field goal. You know what I mean?
I get your point. It's fine, valid. My thought process is a field goal. If you throw it on third down and then still decide to go for it and you don't get it, they have to go 92 yards to beat you.
3-yard line. Yeah.
Yep. Whatever it is at that point. They have to go 90 plus yards to beat you. And then, they have to go 60 yards to kick a field goal and tie. I'm okay with going to overtime if you go aggressive, but no matter what, you're losing on the touchdown. I don't understand the play call of going up 6 to still lose on a touchdown.
But they shouldn't have lost on the touchdown. That's the thing. If Jalen Hurts, God, I want to move on from it already. Jalen Hurts is at the 43-yard line. They still had time to score. They had plenty of time to kick a field goal. That pass should have never been thrown.
It was not timeouts. The throw was not necessary. You're 100% right. But I'm at the. Do you remember the Saints-Rams game in the playoffs a few years back with the defensive pass interference?
Yes.
Right. And then it goes to overtime, and it's like, and it was like, this scenario, Saints still had a chance to win, yada, 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 yada. It's my thing is, it should never have gotten to that point where the Saints had to make a decision to win that game.
All right.
This should never have gotten to that decision.
So listen, I'm not telling you that I would have done what Nick Sirianni did on that last drive. I probably would have ran the ball and then seen what happened with fourth down. But I also can't, it wasn't bad clock management. It wasn't a total asshole move. It wasn't, what are you doing? You're so dumb. Why would you do that? They made a decision. And I think when I say I think that Kellen Moore had a lot of influence on it too. They're like, hey, we dial up this play, we get a first down, and the game's over. And if Saquon Barkley doesn't drop it, that's exactly what would have happened. But even if you disagree fundamentally with throwing the ball there and not running it, I don't think it's a dumb move. I disagree with it, but I don't think it's dumb.
So that's where I'm at too. I'm like, if you're gonna throw the ball. They had a perfect play. It was set up perfectly. It was a perfect throw. He catches it. He falls over the first down. Game's over. Great. 100% agree.
But you would have went for it on fourth down.
Right. Because if you're going 90 plus yards to score a touchdown.
But here's where I disagree. If I'm going for it on fourth down, I try to pick up a yard or two and then
No,
you're
I'm
a
with
yard
you.
away, and you
I'm-
run the ball on first.
All right, if I'm the head coach,
third down.
I'm running. If I'm the head coach, I'm running the ball and then running the ball again if I need to. That's me if I'm the head coach. But I'm saying the
Right.
way they played it out, if the third down play is going to get screwed up, you have to go for it again on fourth down because how
Right.
does so you kick the field goal and then you do a touchback, which I didn't agree with. I would have put it in the landing zone where they had to land it or actually return the ball, maybe not get to the 30. So my point being is if you kick the field goal, you're only have to go 70 yards. They have 70 yards to score a touchdown to win. If you go for them, right. If they go for they have 70 yards to score a touchdown to win. If you go for it and you don't get it, they still need a touchdown to win. It's 90 plus yards to score a touchdown.
But it's a field goal to tie, and they have a very good kicker. So if you get it,
I'm not worried about time. I'm not worried about a tie.
45-yard line. But these are the things you think of. Like with this defense, literally the Falcons needed to go 70 yards and score a touchdown to win the game. And even though they did it, the Eagles still got the ball back because the defense sucks so bad, they let them score in like a minute, right?
65 seconds.
Again, and I like the way Nick Sirianni answered this when he was asked about it. He said, well, of course, in hindsight, it didn't work, so I changed what I did. That should always be the answer. In hindsight, would you do something different? And the coach would be like, nope, I wouldn't do anything different. Oh, you should. It didn't work. So he answered it correctly.
He said today he was convinced. He was convinced by it after reviewing it. He's convinced that he was right.
But what I'm saying is that people may disagree with it. I don't think it's crazy. I don't think what he did was crazy, and I don't think what he did was crazy. I would have taken the points. I tweeted out I would have taken the points. The analytics say to go for it right there. Routinely, teams go. By the way, the two things that people are complaining about with Nick Sirianni throwing the ball on third down and going for it instead of kicking a field goal. Teams routinely do the exact same things all the time. All the time. It's the quandary. Do we run the clock knowing that we're not going to pick up the first down because we want to run the clock, or do we throw it? And if you throw an incompletion, you're stopping the clock. Teams do it all the time.
I agree.
It just ended up costing the Eagles the game. If the defense doesn't suck, and if Jalen Herz doesn't throw the freaking ball up for an interception, we're not even talking about this right now. That's what you can't lose games like that. The quarterback can't lose games like that. So, like, Nick Sirianni, yeah, everybody's going to say Nick Sirianni. I've seen
the least hate on Nick Serani, and from 2 days of talking about it, I'm the one that's saying it's his. Like I feel like I'm the one trying to convince people it's his fault. Like I get more defense than anything.
It's the defense right now. I don't know. I haven't listened to much talk radio. I've seen a lot of.
This is just me having conversations. Yeah, but it's just like. It's like my thing is the defense played. It's like, all right, did they get run on by Bijan for a majority of the game? Yes, they did. But they still only gave up one touchdown and 3 field goals up to that point of the game. And if you're telling me my defense is giving up 21 points a game, I think we should win majority of those games.
Yeah, is that because they did a good job, or is that because the Falcons suck too?
Well,
I'll tell you, it's because the Falcons suck. They can run the ball. Kirk Cousins sucks.
Yeah, they can run. They can definitely run the ball. But it's my thing. The way I was looking at from my perspective, at least, it was when they got into the crunch time, they like in the red zone, deep into our territory, they locked it down more so than the Falcons were getting their yards, of course. But at the end of the game, or when it came to putting the ball in the end zone, they weren't able to do it for majority of the game.
Yeah, Slay got caught looking at the quarterback. Drake London made a great move, and it wasn't even close.
Nope.
And that's it. But again, Jalen Hurts from the 43-yard line. If he gets 20 yards, Jake Elliott has a not only a makeable field goal he makes routinely. You're not far away.
He's a clutch kicker too.
He is. Yes. If you get 14 yards, it's a 60-yard field goal. He did it in a monsoon last year.
Don't get me wrong. Hertz is on the list. Hertz is in the top 3 for these guys, but I'm blaming Sirianni one.
Well, let me tell you, I'm not blaming Sirianni one. I'm blaming Howie Roseman before I'm blaming Sirianni.
I've heard that a few times.
Howie Roseman, Jalen Carter, and I still think he's going to be productive this year. But he's one tackle the other night. It wasn't even he doesn't have a solo tackle this year in 3 games. He doesn't have a solo tackle. Josh Sweat, who I feel like it's like, Josh Sweat's playing pretty well. He's not living up to his contract. Huff had no stats. Bryce Huff didn't make
2 games in a row.
Score. He didn't have any
2 games in a row.
stats. And I've looked at guys on Twitter that put the film out there. He's not even close. You put him out there on rundowns, forget about it. They're running right at him. He's getting swallowed up by those tackles. Milton Williams and Booker. Who's Booker? Booker made two tackles for a loss in the game.
Dude was all over the field. Halfway through the game, I literally look at Erica and her dad. I'm like, who's Booker? I'm like, Booker? I've read these rosters so many freaking times. I've said this on the show a million times. I am not the best reader of anything, period.
No,
I don't give a shit. But I read the players' names, and I don't remember seeing that dude's name on the roster or anything once before the season. And he popped off the page. Like, I noticed him 4 or 5 times throughout the game. I'm like, this dude is balling out here.
9 snaps. 9 snaps, 2 tackles for a loss, 3 solo tackles. Jalen Carter, half of a tackle, or an assist on a tackle.
Yep.
Bryce
Huff,
no stats. Jordan Davis, 2 tackles.
Booker made himself known every time he was on the field.
He sure did.
I thought he was balling out. But then you got a guy who's making $17 million who can't even sniff the football. Like, you could line him up over center and he wouldn't even get a whiff.
316 rush yards given up on the season, 6.5 yards per carry for the Eagles.
Worst rush
defense in
it's
the
bad.
league. And I don't know. Again, we're supposed to have this great defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio. Then he better figure this out. I'm already tired of him, Vic Fangio. And I'm not the guy that's frothing to the mouth asking for blitzing, but I do need a guy that says, we can't get a pass rush. We're getting run against. What can I do to affect that? What can I do to change it around, especially in game? That last drive, Kirk Cousins, it was like you were playing 7-on-7.
Yep.
Pathetic. And that's where a veteran defensive coordinator is supposed to make a difference. And he didn't.
I didn't understand. Like, I don't know how to go about the prevent defense whatsoever. Like, I don't know. It seems fluky to me, like where sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, whatever. But if you're going to let them carve you up in the prevent, what is the difference of sending 5 guys? Like,
I don't even know. Like, was it really a prevent? Like, what are they doing? How does that happen?
I just don't understand how you're dropping 7 guys in the coverage and there's still wide open receivers. It's like, if you're going to have wide open receivers, send 5, 6 guys. And then at least you have a chance to get there before he hits the wide open receiver. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I don't get it. It's Bryce
Huff. I was talking to somebody today. Yeah, he had last season where he had 10 sacks, but I think before that, he had 3.5 sacks in a season or something. So they bought based on last season. It's not a 5-year contract. It's not a 5-year, $130 million contract. It's essentially a 2-year deal. If they were to get rid of him after 2 years because he's a bust, you take a cap hit and you got to give him some guarantee money in that 3rd year. But really, it's a 2-year contract. But that would mean you would have Hassan Reddick's replacement suck. And you can't have that because they don't have anybody else to rush the passer on the edge. Brandon BG, he's playing sacks or he's playing a lot of snaps. He's in the last year of his career, right? How much can you expect? Nolan Smith,
he actually had a great sack in the game. BG, and BG actually had a great sack that actually got called back.
Yeah.
Dude, those refs were brutal too. But go ahead, continue. Sorry.
No, but there's no Nolan Smith actually. I had Fran Duffy of PHLY on my show today, and he said Nolan Smith actually is pretty good against the run, and that Bryce Huff, you pretty much can't put him on the field anymore against the run. He's becoming even more of a situational edge rusher. Like, all right, you better get the quarterback.
Yeah, I need Jason Babin's stats if you're going to be the situational edge rusher.
Listen, you got to get pressure. So the last 2 years, right? I just saw that I had it here somewhere. So 2 years ago, as far as pass rush win rate, I know you keep track of that all the time, Delco Steve. But it's more or less like Bryce Huff lining up against the tackle or whoever he's up against. What's the win rate? He was number 1 in the NFL in 2022, 25.6% of the time he won. Now, he was fresh because he was probably coming on, wasn't playing a ton of snaps. Last season, he was 3rd in the league in pass rush win rate. So far this year, he's tied for 146th.
Out of how many?
6.9%. And man, I'm just telling you, I said it on my PHLY show, Philly with John Marks. I said to Brandon Lee Gout in the Bleeding Green Nation, if they don't pressure Kirk Cousins, they will lose this game. Now, it didn't exactly play out the way I thought it would because Cousins wasn't very good. But on that final drive, they didn't pressure him. They didn't have any separation in the game because they weren't getting turnovers. They weren't getting pressure or anything like that. So I'm so freaking annoyed, Steve. So annoyed with everything and everybody right now. God, because now you're staring the Saints and the Bucks down the barrel of them on the road, and I wonder.
We go to New Orleans and get smoked all the time. We go to New Orleans and get smoked and smoked. Oh, shit, the game I was at when we were in New Orleans, they lost 49-7. Like,
and anybody else worried that? Remember last year how at the end of the year it was, oh yeah, no, they got this one. No, they're not going to lose another game. They got this one, and they just kept losing and losing and losing, and then finally you're like against the Bucks. Like, they're not winning this game. But what have you seen from the Eagles? They just lost to the Giants and the Cardinals. Well, did they beat the Giants?
They beat the Giants. They lost to the Cardinals. They blew a 15-point lead to the Cardinals, and then they blew like a 10-point lead against the Jets. Yeah, and I don't even remember what else. Right. There was a few of them.
Like, these guys didn't quit, but they didn't look like they could beat anybody anymore. And I don't know what team's going to show up in New Orleans. I don't. Would I be surprised if that team showed up? No. We saw what happened with that defense. And by the way, this offense, I know they lost A.J. Brown, and that's a huge loss. Man, you're going to score more points at home on Monday Night Football. I'm sorry. You got to score more points. Not acceptable.
How many freaking outs are you going to run the freaking Britton Covey on inside the 10-yard line? Or how is that part of the offense? Like, that Britton Covey running a 3 or 4 yard out is the first freaking read on 10 plays.
Because Jahan Dotson doesn't have his trust, or he's not getting open, or Jalen's just not even looking at him.
It's just asinine to me. It's just the scheming of you have three. I get AJ's out, but you still have three legit playmakers with Goddard, Barkley, and Devontae Smith. If you were running those freaking out routes that Britton Covey was running to Saquon out of the backfield or something like that, he can make somebody miss. Britton Covey isn't making nobody miss.
He gets hit harder than any player I've ever seen. When he gets the ball, I think he's getting smashed like a rag doll.
The 5'8 corner, 5'9 corner is able to tackle Britton Covey. Saquon's going to run over that guy if you give him those opportunities. It's just, and then when you do give him the opportunity, he drops it. It's just.
And part of the problem is Dotson hasn't had an impact. They traded him in division. That had to tell you something. Right. Yep. Even then, I was like, all right, everybody's
for nothing.
No, it was a 3rd round pick, I think.
Well, we gave him a 3rd.
Back. Yeah.
We got like a 5th back. So
right. Well, whatever.
So it's a 4th round pick.
But if he can't play, that sucks. Because Paris Campbell can't play. Britton Covey should not be a wide receiver. Should not be in the regular rotation of being a wide receiver. Who's somebody else they brought in? Yeah, they're like, that was the problem. If you lost one of your top 2 receivers, your receivers were going to look a lot different, and they look a lot different right now, for sure.
Because I love Devontae. He can play any of the wide receivers. He's most effective out of the slot, though. And when you have AJ out, Devontae's got to slide outside more.
He's not a splash player like AJ Brown is. He's a very good wide receiver. He makes great catches. He can make a big play. AJ Brown is a splash player, and they missed him big time on Monday night. Wanted to give you this too. So Eagles scored 2 touchdowns, had 2 touchdown drives on Monday night. If you were looking inside the drive at the plays, and I went specifically looking for this angle, and I was right. In both of those touchdown drives, the biggest takeaway for me was how they moved the football. And you know how they moved the football?
Saquon Barkley got 1st and 10, 9-yard rush.
So that was the first. That actually made maybe more mad than anything. Jalen Herz running. So the first touchdown drive, he had 47 rushing yards. That's where he split the defenders.
Yeah,
he had a couple of really nice runs. Yes, it looked like it's like, wow, that looks like the old Jalen. He had a burst.
That was the one
by guys, and
that was the positive. That was the positive takeaway of Jalen. That was the first time he looked like he could run the ball since before the game he hurt his knee.
You're right. It did. The second touchdown drive, he had 5 rushes for 33 yards. So in those 2 touchdown drives, he had 80 rushing yards. The problem is they didn't score a touchdown in any other drive. So if this team needs to move the football, are we back into Jalen needs to be a runner and he's scrambling and he has to make plays with his legs? That is not going to work. He's going to get hurt, and he's not going to have the pop and the speed. And as he gets older, every year he gets older, he's going to lose a step.
Yep.
So he'll be able to, he's still going to be a good scramble, and he'll be able to run. You can't rely on that to get touchdowns. And right now, or at least against the Falcons, they relied too much because you know why? They're desperate to score. I understand it. I'm not giving crap to Jalen for doing it. But every time that you do that, you're not developing your offense to where what you really need to do. He needs to throw for those yards. You can't live and die with the scramble because you know what's going to happen. It's not sustainable. None of that's sustainable.
They're end up just blitzing the house, and he's not going to even get a chance to run the ball.
I've already seen this. There's got to be an adjustment. So I'll put a lot of that on Kellen Moore and Nick Sirianni and the coaching staff. But when you're desperate to try to win a game, you're trying to win a game. I get it, but if that's the only way this team's scoring touchdowns right now, that's a problem. You're going to lose. This is supposed to be a prolific offense. It did not look like that on Monday night at all.
They have 189 passing yards, something like that.
Jalen's just flat out got to be better. But I kind of feel like this is kind of what Jalen Hurts is right now. He's not a bad quarterback, but
he doesn't look over the middle at all. Like,
how many times does he need to roll out before my head explodes? Roll out to the right. It seemed like the entire second half, every possession he was rolling out to the right.
Yep. I mean, it's like he can't just sit there and hit Goddard. Like, Goddard should be able to eat over the middle against a lot of teams. And he doesn't get the targets because I don't think Hertz is comfortable throwing over the middle like in those tight windows.
The second touchdown drive, there was a 4th and 3 at the Atlanta 41, and Hertz ran for 23 yards. Or is this the first one? This is the first one. So it's a 4th and 3. He ran for 23 yards.
That's when he spiked the ball, right?
Yes. And he got to delay a game. And then it was a 2nd and 20. And I remember this because it's like, wow, 2nd and 20 holding. That sucks because you're at the Atlanta 28. And he scrambled right up the middle and almost got 10 yards back right away.
Yep.
And then 3rd and 11, he scrambled for 15 yards.
And got to like the 4.
Yes. So the biggest plays on that touchdown drive, Jalen Hurts 23 yards, Jalen Hurts 9 yards, Jalen Hurts 15 yards. And he's got to do it. That's fine. But you can't do that every drive. And if you're not scoring on other drives when you're trying to throw the ball, that's a freaking problem. So they better figure this out. This coaching staff better figure this out. And listen, Jalen's got to be better. I'm sorry. I like Jalen Hurts a lot. I do. I haven't seen the development from a passing standpoint. His 2022 season, where a lot of people, including me, had a lot of question marks about him going into the season to where if he really could develop enough as a quarterback. And he looked fantastic.
Yep.
He really did. By the Super Bowl, he was out throwing Patrick Mahomes for crying out loud. But then last year, after that San Francisco 49ers game, he hasn't been the same. The same.
I mean, just the 3 interceptions he's thrown this year are all boneheaded, stupid throws.
Yeah.
Like, I know not, like, I'm not saying I can even make the throws, but like, I know not to throw them. Like, come on.
So Landon Dickerson, the pressure that the Falcons were able to get on Monday night, a lot of them were on those twists. So they were like stunning where you would have whoever Dickerson was lined up over, he kind of came around to the other side and Dickerson couldn't get over there or they didn't switch off. So Jalen had to get rid of the ball because pressure was coming. You can easily sail that out of bounds. Where he threw it, just
you live to fight another day at that point that play.
You literally need 15 yards to get in field goal range.
Yep.
If you're able, how many times have you seen any NFL quarterback go down the field with timeouts in that amount of time? Right?
Patrick
Mahomes. If you give Patrick Mahomes 20 seconds, guess what he's doing? He's driving down the freaking field, and they're going to kick a field goal. You see it every weekend.
They did it with 13 seconds with no timeouts.
Yes, they did. So, like, you got to know in that situation. I felt great about where the Eagles were at that point. They got the ball at the 30-yard line. They had timeouts, and boom. Didn't Goddard get – it was really his only action. Goddard got a big –
that was his third catch of the game, but that was like for like 20 yards.
All right, whatever. 13. It would have been 13 yards. So they got the ball at the 30. I think it would have been 13 yards. Anyway, I thought I was over the game. I'm clearly not. You brought me back, Delco Steve. One of the things that I want to bitch about. Oh, I got to get this off my chest because I was honestly this bothered me probably more than anything in the game. The the drive that they decided to go for it instead of
in the first quarter.
In the first quarter, instead of kicking the field goal, I want to pull up the play-by-play because I want to give you exactly what it was. Saquon Barkley was a beast,
dude,
on that drive.
He had 9 yards on first down at least 4 times in that game. It's just like
plowing through the line, right?
Yeah.
All right, so let me pull up the play-by-play because the play calling on that particular at the end of that drive was horrible. All right, so Saquon Barkley, 9 yards. Saquon Barkley, 9 yards. Saquon Barkley, 10 yards. Saquon Barkley, 11 yards. Down to the Atlanta 26-yard line. First and 10. No, excuse me. So the last run where he goes 11 yards, now they're down inside the 20. They're at the 15, first and 10. And freaking Gainwell's in the game.
Yep.
And my immediate reaction, and I get it, Barkley just had a bunch of carries. Gainwell comes in and he gets 4 yards. So it's like, all right, 4 yards isn't bad. 2nd and 6, you go back to Gainwell for another rush. What are you doing? What are you doing? They were going to go for a touchdown there regardless. Right? So now you have 3rd and 4, and that's where he's trying to wait. There's nothing open. Johnny Wilson's running along the back of the end zone. They don't have good chemistry, so he doesn't know when to go try to find some space, and it's incomplete. So now it's 4th and 4. That sequence right there, I hated. Is Saquon Barkley in shape enough inside the 20? All right, you want to give him a first down off? Give him first down off, even if you're giving it to Gainwell. What are you doing? Gainwell, another game. I don't need to see Gainwell run the ball at all. But 2 straight rushes inside the 15-yard line, no thank you. I'm out.
1,000% agree. Kenneth Gainwell should not be seeing red zone touches unless the game is way out of hand one way or the other. It's plain and simple. I would rather see Will Shipley getting the ball than Kenneth Gainwell by a million. At least I had seen Will Shipley do it in college, and I don't know what he can do in the NFL. I know Kenneth Gainwell isn't that big of a factor.
They love him, man. Whatever reason, this team.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
It's unbelievable. So the 3rd down, there was nobody that was open. So then on 4th down,
that's the pass to Goddard.
But Goddard was 4th down. 3rd down was Johnny Wilson. He was trying to get him to the corner in the end zone.
Yeah, they flipped that because Goddard was right in front of us. That's
after the 3rd down, and Seriani had talked today, and he said that it's not all about analytics. It's also about players and feel and everything else that's going on in the game. It felt like they should have kicked the field goal there. It felt like that the drive stalled. They lost momentum when they brought in Gainwell. And then 3rd down, nothing really developed. That didn't look like a good play call because the 4th down play call sucked.
Yep.
Right? So if you have a play call in mind where it's like, nah, we're going to go to this one early today. And it's like, yeah, you feel really good about it. That wasn't the 4th and 4 play call. That play call sucked. And listen, you went for it. I would have taken the points. To me, the feel was take the points. It's not crazy that they went for it because teams go for it all the time in those situations. But it's a matter of just not getting the job done.
I'm okay with I'm personally I'm an aggressive go for a touchdown thought process majority of the time. In that situation early in the game, 0-0, after you kind of just did a couple body blows back and forth, punt. I think it was punt at that point. And then, all right, yeah, kick the field goal, take the points, move on. It's just whatever. But it's early in the game, I'm fine with just taking the points. So at the end of the game, maybe those points came in handy where it's that field goal at the end of the game. I know you can't look at it that way, but it's all right, it's potentially 9 points. Then the field goal makes sense at the end of the game. That ices the game in and of itself too. But it's if you're going to go for it early, in my head, you got to go for it late.
Yeah, I don't. Brandon Lee Gouton tweeted out, where do I have it right here? It says, Nick Sirianni's inconsistent approach is hard to understand. Eagles go for it 4th and 4 on the 9-yard line to later kick a field goal from 4th and 3 at the 6-yard line. Passing on a 3rd and 3 to be aggressive and get a first down to end the game near the end to kick a field goal on 4th and 3 seems haphazard and lacking conviction. If you're going to be aggressive, let that be your identity. You live and die by, no half measures.
That's where I'm at. That's 100% where I'm at.
I disagree. I disagree. I was more upset with the not taking the points in the first quarter than I was what they did at the end of the game. I would have definitely. I thought they made the wrong decision in going for it. To me, the feel was definitely take the points right there, kick the ball
I
off,
agree.
go get a stop. I would have taken the points.
I agree. No, that's fine. That's fine. I have no objections to that. Like if that happened, if that's how it happened in the game in the first quarter, no arguments.
But you
Fine,
don't.
whatever.
I mean, it's not a one size fits all thing. You don't have to always go for it because you like it doesn't have to be the same thing every time. Like you can see. I don't agree with you have to be aggressive every time. There's a feel for the game.
No, my thing is if you're going to be aggressive in the first quarter when there's no pressure on you to be aggressive, who cares? It's like but now you're in crunch situation and you're like you don't know what to do anymore. That's what I'm saying. Like, so if you're telling me when it doesn't matter, this is what you would do. Now it's like, oh, well, this could screw me now if I screw it up. Now I don't want to do it. Like that's the way I look at it.
But he was being aggressive going for the pass. That's actually being aggressive.
No,
unfortunately, it didn't work.
But that's also to my point too. Third down's aggressive, and now you turtle on fourth. I want you to like, if you're going to show me aggression there, and then like you already gave me an example earlier in the game, you're going to be aggressive. Don't turtle on fourth. You still lose on a touchdown.
Like, I think you're right. I think it's a hedge in that. I think it's a hedge in that it's like, okay, I'm going to be aggressive on third down, but if that doesn't work, then I got to get the 6 points. It does matter being up 6 as opposed to 3. I mean, let's not act like the teams don't decide to do things like that all the time because they'd rather have the 6-point lead than the 3-point lead. At least they're saying like, hey, you got to score a touchdown to tie this game. It is not difficult to drive the field and set yourself up for a field goal.
I agree. That's fine. Like, but they're driving 60 yards for a field goal or 90 yards to win the game under the same parameters, though. So it's like my thought process is I'm eliminating the field goal. I could give a shit about giving up the tie, but if you're going to give me to lose the game 70 yards from the 30 or 90 plus from deep in your own territory where it's harder to get out of your own end zone, I'm going to take that to not lose. If I'm playing to not lose the game, that's the way I look at it.
Well, listen, they lost the freaking game.
Yeah, so they did.
Damn it. All right. Phillies and Brewers are tied. If you're watching us live, end of 7. Rhys Hoskins went deep to tie her up as
in Nolan's favorite inning to screw it up, the 5th.
Yeah. Knowles went 7. He's 97 pitches. It's like that's probably his last inning. Done. Yeah, I wouldn't bring him back out. Who had Boom went deep for the Phillies, so it's good to see him back. Homer.
Is this his first game back?
I mean, he didn't play he didn't play last night. I know he's been back. He's just been back. I gave him the night off. So he played Sunday, Monday. They gave him off yesterday. So he's back in it tonight. That's good to see him hit a home run. He's got to get his timing back here for the playoff start. But the Phils are looking good right now. They are cruising. There's magic numbers. They can clinch tonight with a win. Is that correct?
Yeah.
They can be
a
playoff spot, right?
Yeah.
So, and then they would need a couple more for the division, but they are right now. They're ahead pretty much of everybody that's out there. And I didn't see the results from tonight, but magic number to clinch the East was 4. Magic number to clinch playoffs 1. Yeah. So here's one stat for you for everybody that says the Phillies like, oh, they're beating up on bad teams. They're 29-17 against NL playoff contenders. So the teams that are locks to be in the playoffs, and also the teams, and I guess it'd be the Braves and whoever else has a legitimate chance at the wild card. So 12 games over 500 against playoff type teams or playoff teams.
You got Phillies, Dodgers, Brewers, Padres, Diamondbacks, Mets, Braves. Pretty much that's it. And I think the Braves feel like that they're done. Unless the Cubs go nuclear.
Right. Where are we right here? We have wild card standings. Padres, Mets, Diamondbacks are the 2 and the 3. The Braves are 2 games back from the Diamondbacks and the Mets. The Cubs are 7. They're pretty much done ski. I wouldn't want to face the Diamondbacks. The Padres have looked really good. And who knows with the Mets? Seems like the Mets are going to make the playoffs here. So
But
whatever.
Saturday's game was electric. We had a
Dude.
good time down at the park.
So you were there Saturday, and then the Eagles game on Sunday
Monday.
or on Monday. So you went to the game on Saturday. So dude, let me tell you this. I was watching Friday night, and that's an 11-3 loss. They got that crap. They got a 3-run home run by Marsh in the 9th inning. They were down 11-0. And I was furious because I had pledged to be positive John and not go ballistic. And I was gonna like, the Phillies are a good team. I'm gonna stop worrying about shit. Phillies are a good team. They lose 11-0. They lose 11-3. They come out there down 4-0. I was at a birthday party. So I was looking at my phone, and man, like, I was pissed. And then they start chipping away. Bryce hits 2 home runs. They come back and win it. That was a hell of a win for the Phillies. I mean, really, that took the edge off for the rest of the weekend. They could have lost on Sunday, and it wouldn't have mattered to me. That comeback on Saturday was fantastic.
My buddy at the tailgate was like, "We're betting Phillies to win and Bryce Harper home run." I'm like, "All right, screw it, I'm in." He hits, and then he hits. I'm busting his balls the whole time. It's 4-0. I'm like, dude, I'm sending you a Venmo request, like, just messing with him. And then 2 seconds later, Harper comes up and hits the first home run of the game. That was awesome. We went nuts. And then we called it on the second one, but we couldn't live bet it fast enough.
No.
I was so pissed.
I was thinking about this with the live betting. What was that Falcons number?
Plus 600, because I was going to bet it.
At what point?
When they had the ball
that
at the
final
30.
drive?
The ball at the 30, yeah.
Wow,
plus 600.
Really? Well, what do you think it was when the Eagles had the ball inside the 5-yard line or inside the 10-yard line? Plus
I wish I looked. Because I would have bet it. Actually, that's a lie. Like I said, if it was any other team, I definitely would have bet it though. As soon as that field goal,
you don't bet that.
As soon as that field goal unit came out, I was like, this is bad.
Yeah, I don't disagree. You never like to see that. You like to see the game over. And I'm not going to sit here and crush Saquon Barkley. He dropped the ball.
No.
It sucks. He dropped the ball, but he handled it well. Afterwards, he took full responsibility. Said he let his team down or whatever. Giants fans were out there celebrating like they won another Super Bowl. I get it. Saquon broke your heart because you have a shitty organization and you don't know what you're doing, and you're among the worst teams in the league pretty much year after year. If you take the Super Bowl years out, and you're lucky you got those Super Bowls, those lucky Super Bowls with Eli, your organization sucked for a long time. So enjoy it. Enjoy the loss.
They were what, 9-10 win teams when they were getting it, those 2 Super Bowls?
Yep.
The 19 or the Patriots 19-0 run year they were the last team in the playoff and got hot. Or when we were raised, the defensive line got hot.
No, you're right. Yeah, they really did. And Eli played great in those games.
Yeah.
Right? Like that, who are David Tyree with like freaking catch of a lifetime? Nah, like
and then the Plaxico, or was it Plaxico the second one?
No, it was Manningham on that deep
Manningham. Yes,
Manningham made it. That was a great throw by Eli.
Plaxico was Steelers Super Bowl.
Yeah, he was on. He wasn't on. Yeah, he I guess he wasn't on those Super Bowl the Giants Super Bowls. But I hate the Giants. But like the Giants fans, listen, I would do the same thing if I was you. If I was pathetic like you. And Saquon Barkley left, and you knew they were going to the Eagles. I'd do the same thing. I know I would. I would love it too. I would have been up celebrating. It's just like Sean Marash up there at WFAN and all you losers. Like whatever. All right. So right here. To you guys, Giants fans. Right there. But yeah, like I just want to
well, at least they know their team sucks. So when our team sucks, it's worse for us. It's so much worse for us.
Of course it is. There's real expectations. Their expectation is they need to be bad enough to get their future quarterback. And that's the only thing I'd care about right now. When they signed Daniel Jones, the same idiots were telling me, I'm like, ha ha ha. That's great. Because now you're going to sign him and you don't want to sign him.
Remember when they were popping off with Danny DeVito? They were popping off when Danny DeVito was winning them games last year.
Oh, Tommy Cutlets? Yeah.
No, Tommy DeVito.
Tommy Cutlets. Oh, yeah. He was. There was a line around the block at a Primo's Hoagie place in Jersey to go see Tommy Cutlets. It's a nice story. But anyway. All right, so quickly, how do you feel? But give me your prediction on this game. The Saints are 3-point favorites. I didn't see if the line moved today.
Well, before the Monday night game, the Eagles were 3-point favorites.
I know. Oh, believe me, I know. I was talking about it. We talked about it last week, right? Yeah, it's shifted 6 points.
I don't know, man.
Let me look on the Bet Parks app right now. Delco Steve.
The better in me says bet the Eagles. The fan in me says this is going to be bad.
See, I'm opposite. The fan in me says this team's going to bounce back. I think more of this team. The better in me says, don't be a sucker. This team is what it is. Does that make sense? How many times last year I said,
this is the week.
They're bouncing back this week. This is
they can't lose to the Cardinals.
They can't lose to the Cardinals.
They can't lose to the Cardinals at home with Jonathan Gannon coming back for his first game. It's like, come on.
They're not losing to Baker Mayfield. He stinks. I don't care. They're not losing this game. And then they got fucking pummeled. Saints are 3-point favorites.
They lost to the freaking Jets with Zach Wilson as the freaking quarterback. Like, there's not many worse players that have played in this league so far. Like, that's an interesting dynamic where we're opposite, but like I totally see your side. Like, yeah, like from a betting angle, everyone's going to be hammering the Saints. They just watched the Eagles get torched, and this team just torched the Falcons, or not torched the Cowboys. No one cares that they torched the Panthers because the Cowboys were 6.5-point favorites. And thank you, Cowboys, you losers, for knocking me out of Survivor. But not the point. It's like, but they were almost 7-point favorites at home against the Saints, and they boat raced them. I agree with you. If it wasn't, and Derek Carr's such a loser, right? Like, you really expect him to come out again and play like he did against the Cowboys? I don't know, man. But again, they can't get pressure on him. When you evaluate where the Eagles are right now, you have to ask yourself, like, all right, they can't get pressure on the quarterback. Can that change against the Saints? They're on the road. So the Saints are already going to play better down there. The Eagles do not play well in New Orleans. No. And if you can't get to the quarterback, Derek Carr is going to pick you apart, right? This defense sucks right now. So the Saints have a very, I'm going to be nice and say, very average offensive line. It's not that. They're not a good offensive line. They as currently constructed, like, they're not. Like, their scheme this season seems to be better, but it's like did you hear the Micah Parsons quote about like how they were blocking him? Like, they were running like receivers in motion to chip him. Slow him down from the start. Yep. But these guys are running full speed at him instead of like, oh, here's the tight end, bop, and then going out. So they're in their motion coming over and chipping him and then continuing on their route. It's like, so if we're able to do that to scheme up to stop Micah Parsons with an average offensive line, what the hell are they going to do against our very mediocre defensive line that can't generate pressure, period? Let alone have one guy that can actually do it on his own. It's like, I am anxious to see this game on Sunday for sure. Anxious is the word. I don't think it's going to be Saints Cowboys blowout, but I'm not putting my money on I'm not putting anything on. I'm not putting my fandom. I'm not putting I'm not investing any of that into the Eagles winning on Sunday. Here's the thing. Losing the game isn't a capital offense. Does this make sense? Losing the game to the Saints on the road is like, they're underdogs in the game. So that's not a fire him, get rid of him, this season's over. No, if they get blown out by the Saints, like, that's a major freaking alarm. Major. Yes. This offense needs to respond. Jalen Hurts needs to respond. If they lose this game 31-27, 27-24, and it's a competitive back and forth game, no, I'm 100% with you. That's not an indictment on anything. But if you go lose this game and let the Saints put up 40 points for the third game in a row this year, that's trouble. That's trouble. Yeah, that is trouble. And it's like, and then for someone like Howie Roseman that talks about how he wants to build from the trenches, how did he let one side of the ball just go so neglected? I mean, I agree with you that I think Jalen Carter's going to be an absolute stud at some point in his career. I mean, I think it's like you're going to see it at some point this year. Like, you got to. It's like out of him. He's got the talent. He's got the pedigree. He has the talent. Yes, he does. It's like we've seen it. But like guys like Jordan Davis, I don't see anything out of him. Like Josh Sweat, Florida State dude, always been a fan of him. Don't see as much out of him as you did before he signed the contract.
He's a credible. He's
Bryce
a
Huff
credible
is brutal.
defensive end. Yeah,
it's like
Bryce Huff's brutal. Yeah,
like just brutal. It's just, and then you traded the guy that was actually giving you production. It's just, I don't know. It's they
he
need
needs to change. He needs to change that jersey number too, because he's been a total zero. And
Josh Huff.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
Bryce Huff. Yeah.
So,
no, that's the other thing. Huff.
Josh Sweat.
Huff. You should have known better.
Yeah.
No, Josh Sweat, Bryce Huff,
Yeah.
Josh Huff.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I was screwing that up the other night too. And I'm like,
sure
wait, and I'm like, that was the receiver. Why can't I not think of Huff's first name? But no, that's brutal, man. I think they lose close. That's it. But I need to see something out of the offense.
They better not get blown out, dude. They better.
Would you rather? I mean, not that this is good either way. Would you rather lose the game 17-14, or would you rather lose the game 31-28?
31-28. Because I know the defense sucks, and at least the offense would have looked good.
Okay.
But again, scored 28 points in the NFL, like the whoop-de-damn do with doing that. I'm sorry. I know A.J. Brown's out. I don't care. That's why you pay a quarterback $50 million a year. He's got to make up for that. And unfortunately, the only way he's been doing it is with his legs.
If I see 7 targets of Britton Covey on Sunday, I'm going to need a new TV.
Oh, Delco Steve. Sixers are getting before we get out of here, Sixers are getting a new downtown arena. The team and the city has reached agreement to do it. It's going to be in Chinatown at the gallery, site of the gallery. So the people in Chinatown are probably pissed.
Yep.
I don't blame them, but the city doesn't care ultimately. Here's where I knew it was going to be a done deal. It was pretty clear the 76ers were leveraging New Jersey and publicly putting that out there. And there was the rendering of this is what the stadium would look like in Camden. All very tangible things to be like, hey, we're going to leave.
This is happening. This
is happening. Like, and they're right. And they're right to do it because that's what happens. The city doesn't say, hey, all right, let's go. Let's reach an agreement. You're going to privately finance it. We're going to give you tax breaks, everything else that goes into it. And you got to get a deal done at that point. So I don't blame the mayor, especially they had it was last week where they had, what was it? I just saw there were a bunch of people coming out and speaking. It was like not a town hall, but they were talking about the arena and there were a bunch of union contractors that were there. And it's been very clear for a long time that they are very interested in this project because it's going to mean work for them for how many years? Think about the resources that go into building an arena downtown in Philadelphia. It hasn't been done. We don't even know. This is going to take forever. It's going to cause like freaking chaos and there's going to be a lot of work from it. So how can the mayor say no to that? I don't think they can. If you want the 76ers to leave the city, then you don't do this. But the bigger issue, and I was looking at tweets and replies and things like that, because a lot of people are against this, is they were fine down in South Philly. Why do they have to move? Just put it down in South Philly. It's convenient for everybody. Why do you have to move it? And the reality is that they were tenants in that building, and they look at the kind of where they can build. And could they have created some space in South Philly? Yeah, I mean, I guess they could have. But why would they do that when they can bring a downtown arena, their own arena, and play their games there? And then you have something different to try to book concerts and events and things like that, as opposed to having competing arena next door in South Philly. It's the biggest no-brainer ever for the 76ers to build downtown. I'm not telling you that it's going to make me more likely to go see a 76ers game. It's not. I'm not interested I'm not interested in going to a 76ers game. I'm less interested in going if it's downtown. I'll just be honest. I don't have any interest in doing that. But, like you take public transportation, you drive, whatever they're going to do, people are still going to want to see the team if it's good, if they're good. So it's a no-brainer for me.
Have you been to many downtown arenas, just like other cities?
Well, they're all different because Phoenix is downtown, but the downtown isn't isn't like a Philadelphia downtown.
Yeah.
Everybody's coming in. So leaving, it's chaotic. Houston, same thing. They have a downtown arena.
So I can think of, I've been to two off the top of my head. As Washington with the Capitals and the Wizard Stadium. It sucks. It's so like, it's a pain in the ass in and out. It's like I wasn't even driving and it was still like just getting an Uber or public chariots, whatever, was just a pain in the ass. And then Montreal, same thing. That stadium was a lot cooler, like inside, but the dynamics of getting around, I think, are terrible.
Yeah, no, it will suck. And I saw, so you had the people that are like, this is terrible. Oh, it's just South Philly. And then you have the other people that are, well, a downtown arena is great for the city. It's great for that area of the city. I think it's bad for Chinatown, but it's great for the city. And it's like, well, people will learn to take public transportation. I disagree with that. I don't think people are going to, some people will, because they don't want to have to deal with everything. But I still think most people will just drive in or not go. Right? I'm not driving to a regional rail and taking a train in from like Paoli or wherever to go to a game. Those games don't get over till 9:30 or after that. By the time you walk to the station, you're taking a train. You're not home till like 11:30. You're not. I want to be able to park. I want to be able to park without having to deal with major shit. That's going to be tough to do in the city. It just is.
I mean, it took us a half an hour to get out of FDR last night or the other night. It's like, and that's a wide open area. Like, like what's it going to be downtown with 20,000 people? I mean, or is it even going to be, I was going to say, is it even going to be a 20,000 people arena? Like,
so I think that from Jersey, the Patco line will be great because that's just a short bounce over and then you're there. So Jersey people, I think it's a lot more convenient. But the way the public transportation system's set up in this area, it's not New York. Right? In New York, it's easy to get to Madison Square Garden from Long Island or wherever you are, wherever you're living. It's easy because people use public transportation more than they use it here. It's set up that way. So I don't think it's as easy as, they'll just take the regional rail lines. I don't think so. I don't want to take the regional rail into a game. So I would have preferred if they just stayed in South Philly. I would have been perfectly fine with that. But you have to be realistic at the situation, which is they didn't want to do that. And if I owned the 76ers, I wouldn't have done that either.
I just don't understand. Why wouldn't you? I mean, I can't say this. I have no idea if they did or not. Why wouldn't you try and buy stake into Wells Fargo and get the revenue from the stadium coming to you as well? If you're going to
put the Sixers?
Yeah. Like, why wouldn't you pay?
I don't want that.
I'm just saying, but like the thing I was reading was talking about how they want to get concerts and this, that, and the other thing to make money from the stadium. Well, if you buy into with Comcast Spectacor for the stadium,
Wells
then
Fargo
you're getting
sucks. Wells Fargo's old.
It's not that bad.
Built 96, 30 years old.
It's not that bad.
I mean, I don't hate it. I don't like it. I know they just spent some money redoing it or whatever. It's an older building. They have no interest in buying into the building. They want their own building.
I'm just saying, we should be like, so we got to be building new arenas for these guys like every 25 years. Like, that's insane.
Yeah, you might. Huge mistake by the Sixers in the city. Many fans will hate it. Not if the team's good. Everybody will be.
Are you convinced that they're going to be good? Are you going to? Are you convinced they're going to be good by 2031?
No, but if they're not good by 2031, who cares where they are? They're in South Philly. People aren't going to go to it. The team's got to be good. The 76ers, if they're good, people will go. This has been a hot ticket for a couple of years. I don't know when that wears off. It's worn off with me. I don't enjoy 76ers season anymore. I don't enjoy Embiid. I don't enjoy it at all. They break our freaking hearts. People getting mad. Why are you always hating on Joel? Like, you guys are freaking brain dead if you don't see why people are frustrated with Joel Embiid at this point. But yeah, like I'd prefer they would have found somewhere else than the city. Because I have no interest in driving into the city or taking the train into a city for a game. But I'm also not going to, like, if I'm being honest and I own the 76ers, I would have done the exact same thing. So it's hard for me to argue with it.
I don't know. I like that. I like how our dynamic of all our teams being in the same complex. It's like not. I can't think of. I don't think there's another city like it that has that same kind of setup.
No, and when I meet people that are from outside the area, they'll say, "Oh, this is great. All the stadiums are down here. It's very convenient." But the Phillies wanted a downtown ballpark. They would have brought in Spring Garden. There was talk of Chinatown at 12th and Vine, and then there was Broad Spring Garden, which the Phillies and David Montgomery really wanted, but the city didn't support it. I think Mayor Rendell, or at the time, I guess he was the governor, Ed Rendell wanted it, but it just didn't have the support. And the Phillies quickly moved off it. So
the Phillies weren't willing to play hardball either.
The Phillies didn't do what the Sixers did.
Right.
They leaned on the city, and I think the city made the right decision. You want to be the mayor when the 76ers moved to New Jersey? You know what the unions are going to say about that? You let all of that business leave the city and go over to Jersey? No mayor is going to allow that to happen. That's a death sentence. Nope. 76ers had leverage. They used it. They used it very well. So
thank God it's not my favorite team to go watch live. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. I've been hearing the rail line from King of Prussia into the city for a long time, Kevin. That'll be 30 years before that gets done. It takes a long time to do it. Believe me. You
don't just set that up.
And here's why I know it. I moved up here 12 years ago to Collegeville, and when we were looking for houses, what people were saying was, "Oh yeah, they're talking about there's going to be a rail line in King of Prussia, and so you'll just drive 15 minutes and whatever." A lot of people are moving up here for that. 12 years later, there's no rail line, and there's still the same talk. Like, yeah, they might do a rail line in King of Prussia. I don't know. Be good, but
I mean, I have to go to for me, it would be go to 69th Street and then take the L down. Oh, it'd be that's
awesome. Just what you feel like doing.
Yeah, I'm either leave my car down in 69th Street or Uber down 69th Street. So when I get back, I have to get an Uber. I'm good.
Or you take an Uber to the stadium,
right?
Which is what I would probably do before.
And it would take forever.
Forever. Yeah, I know. It would take forever. But man, no, you're right. It would. But it's going to take forever whether you drive too. That's the thing. Like maybe they can do something where they have like a park and ride type thing where they have you can park. It's a little bit out, and then they have shuttles that pick you up and then drop you off or whatever. That would make more sense to me rather than like you're trying to turn on the 7th Street to go north because there's parking garages.
Yeah,
and there's people are blocking the box. People are trying because like in the city, you have to deal with people walking across the street.
Yeah, you can't just go.
You can't go. No, you can't go. So now you're waiting an entire cycle of a light, and then you're getting 2 or 3 cars that are getting through because everybody's walking. I mean, logistically, it's a nightmare to me. And I have no interest in doing any of it.
No, never. I get frustrated leaving Flyers games, and there's, and you have all that open area and all those big wide open streets, and it's still terrible. With people flying out of the game.
I would actually go watch the Sixers in Jersey before I go to downtown to see a game.
I don't know about that.
It's easier.
I don't like going to Jersey unless I absolutely have to.
Or I don't want to go either. I don't want to go either. I don't want to go to. I have zero interest in going in the Center City for a night game. None, at all. If it was an afternoon game, but even still, like, listen, man, they're gonna have to clean the city up. They're gonna have to clean that shit up. I'm sorry. There's too much shit that goes on. Like, you're talking about taking the L from 69th Street. I don't think there's people passed out with needles in their arm from 69th Street. You come the other way on the L, that's what you see on there.
Yeah.
You see zombies on those trains.
No, I don't know. Every time I've ever taken the L from 69th Street, I'm like head on a swivel. Like, that's just me, though.
Yeah, no, my uncle is the GM of Central City Toyota. That's 48th and Chestnut. So I've taken, to get my car when I lived in the city, I've taken the L up towards there. So I didn't take it all the way to 69th Street, but there's no difference from getting off at that station to going up to 69th Street. It going the other way, if you're trying to go to Frankfurt, that's where I've seen some major shit. So I had a friend that lived that was by the Frankfurt Public Transportation Center, and like man, coming back from there, it's like, holy shit, this is a totally different world that I'm not used to.
By that point, I'll be 40, and I don't think I'll be really trying to go to too many Sixers games. So
yeah,
doesn't affect me too much, I guess.
Well, did you see Ben Simmons got traded?
No, I did not. What lucky fan?
You didn't see that? All right.
What lucky fan base is gonna get to think that they get a chance to revitalize Ben Simmons?
All right, so hold on. I'm gonna give you some theme music here.
Oh, we're gonna go hit the pond.
Feeding the ducks, man. All right, so Ben Simmons, and here's how I saw this. You saw Woj retired today?
No,
from ESPN.
I did not.
Yeah, I guess you're not paying attention. So Woj, and ESPN didn't even know about it. He went in and told the bosses. He's been hired as the general manager, the GM of St. Bonaventure men's basketball. So now colleges are hiring and they're calling them GMs because you actually have like a budget to pay players. So it's actually a brilliant move. I think he went there. He's going to be in charge of fundraising, NIL fundraising, and just kind of strategically being the GM of the program. It's smart. He may be able to recruit because he's Woj, right? He may be able to raise money because he's Woj. But anyway, I found out about this because Woj's replacement is some dude that I've never heard of before. His name is Aaron Rosenberg. So he puts out, I'm honored to take over his role. So I'm like, why haven't I ever heard this guy? Oh, you know why? Because he tweets like 3 times a year before this. You would have thought, and he, by the way, retweets. He doesn't even tweet. So you would have thought that a guy like Shams or somebody that was like a mini Woj or somebody that was doing the same thing that Woj does, which is lots of tweets, lots of followers, lots of content, lots of this, lots of that. This dude literally hasn't had his own tweet. I'm going to say before he put this trade out there, I don't think he ever has. He has 8 total lifetime tweets, unless he's deleted
a new account.
Deleted things. Since I looked, he has 8,000 more followers since I looked about an hour and a half ago. He's up to 40,000 followers.
So they just handpicked somebody and was like, yeah, here's Woj's contacts. Like,
yep. I think Jake Fisher.
I didn't realize that's how it works. I thought you actually had to build that stuff your own.
Jake Fisher from Bleacher Report, I think he put out there that he's leaving now. He's a local dude too. So he may be on the ESPN. I don't know what's going on. So anyway, he tweeted it out. Ben Simmons traded. What team do you think traded for him? Give me a guess. It is not the 76ers. Indiana. Good guess. Incorrect. God, it's not even on the front. It's not even on the front page of ESPN.com. As I don't even know what they gave up in the trade. So I'll say this: that it's a good spot for him. If there was a spot that I would
give me a hint on the team. On
Western Conference.
Utah Jazz.
I think it's a really good spot for him. Incorrect. Guys, is this the only person that has this out there? All right, I'll give it to you. Ready?
Yep. Hit me.
Golden State Warriors. Right?
If he ends up being good there, I'm going to be pissed.
I mean, I'd bet against it. But if there's ever a place that he can go, good organization, good head coach. I mean, they're desperate to try to get back to being a championship type team, but they're going to need more than Ben Simmons. But he has Steph, right? Unless he's comfortable shooting free throws, and he's not afraid. Otherwise, you can't give him the ball. So he turns into a dunker, power forward, a guy that has no offensive game.
Wait, so does no one else have this besides that guy?
Breaking: Brooklyn Nets are trading Ben Simmons to the Golden State Warriors. Sources tell ESPN.
This thing I just pulled up says, did the Nets really trade Ben Simmons to the Warriors? Because it's like the only person that this article says he's like the only person that has it.
So is this guy not the? Is this a? Yeah. So it's a fake account.
It says it's from Aaron Rosenberg of ESPN.
But he came out and he said that he's officially taken over. It's fake. Because he's got the check mark.
Oh,
it says
it's a parody satire.
Account.
Yeah.
That'd be a good place for him to go, though. And everybody fell for it. Dude, I'm telling you, he got 8,000 followers in 13
I was going to say.
an hour.
I was saying, there was things that weren't tracking there.
That's why I just Googled it, and I'm like, nobody has.
Yeah, I did. I typed in Ben Simmons trade, and it was like not one actual article. That's funny.
So anyway, so maybe Jake Fisher is going to be the replacement. He's kind of, people used to call him the young Woj or mini Woj. So there you go. I could see Jake doing that. He's very talented. All right. Well, there you go. What else do we want to talk about here for a second? I don't know. That might be it. So you what do you got coming up this weekend there, Delco Steve? Anything good?
No, finally relaxing. I got a christening I got to go to Sunday, but that's it. Sunday morning.
Oh, that's awesome.
I think I'm working. I'm gonna work Saturday and chill out.
Working on Saturday, huh? All right.
My buddy asked for some help, so I was more than willing to do it because I could use the extra work myself. So why not?
Nah. What are you gonna be doing? Hammering stuff and
he's a landscaper. He's a landscaper. I think he needs some rocks moved. So.
Oh, really?
He called in the muscle.
I don't have muscle, but I like to mow the lawn. I got to do it one more time too before the end of the season. I haven't mowed the lawn in like 3 weeks.
Can you bring your tractor down and do mine too while you're at it?
How many miles is it? I don't think I have enough gas to get me there. I don't have a trailer.
Just cruising down on the.
Dude, my buddy Rick, who maybe watching this, he usually watches all the YouTube shows. If he's still watching this. I was over his house and he pulls out. I knew he got a tractor because he's like a big, he's got stuff. He's got everything. If shit ever went down in this world, I'm going right to Rick and Sheila's house because he's got everything. He will keep me alive longer than anybody else that I know. But he's got this John Deere tractor, dude. This thing it's easily $10,000 or $15,000. It's up on big freaking or more. It's probably more. It's up on these big tires, like big Jeep tires. It's unbelievable. It really is. But he also got a trailer, so he can take it. He can take it to get service and all this other shit. I don't have a trailer, so I'm stuck unless you want me to drive. Unless you can come up here with a trailer, then I can't drive it down there.
I get a trailer.
All right, whatever. All right, well, have a good weekend, Delco Steve. By the way, tomorrow on my PHLY show, 8 a.m. Philly with John Marks. Sean Brace joins me in studio for the whole reunion. Show. It's the return of the John and Sean show tomorrow. Yes. So that should be fun. And there's some stuff to talk about as well. So, all right, everybody.
Sorry, I got you all riled up again.
No, it felt good. I needed it. That's how bad it sucked. Steve, I'm just telling you, they better not get blown out. They better not look lifeless. He's going to get fired.
I said this when the schedule came out. I'm like, if they go 0-4, that's obviously not going 0-4. But winning in Brazil wasn't that convincing. So
if they start 1-2, I don't even want to think what 1-3 sounds like. I think we both know what 1-3 would sound like. 1-2, there's going to be calls to get them whacked. So.
And 1-3 going into a bye week, 2 weeks done.
He's done. If this team gets blown out, he could be done. Because that's the last half of last year and this year. It's trouble. Belichick's available. You can bring him in right now.
Mid-season, bring in Belichick?
They won't do it because if you brought him in, Fangio has to go. So you might just, who knows what you do.
I don't even care if you just have him be the figurehead. It's like, you guys are calling the play still, but I'm dictating how this stuff's going.
Well, hopefully it doesn't come to that. All right.
Yeah,
all right, Delco Steve. Go Birds.
Phillies lost on the walk-off.
Did they really?
Just happened.
Whatever. Would have been nice to win. All right, Delco Steve. Peace out, man.
Peace.
All right. See ya.